To hammer the delusion, and we need to contemplate the joy of attachment, pleasure of possession. We become totally unconscious and habitual. Enjoyment of using the world, maybe a person, maybe a food, or anything. So these, so joy of attachment, we have to contemplate where is the joy of attachment, pleasure of possession, and enjoyment of using the world, maybe a person or a food. All comes from the delusion. As such, happiness, peace are not located in attachment, in possession. It comes due to the ego that leads to delusion. So I have to contemplate and reflect even when I'm using that, when I'm attached. And that is what, the seven or eight verses talks about that, indirectly or directly. If you remember, the first verse talks about what exactly is the foolishness of the mind. It does what it should not do. Why it does it? Because I don't realize it. What is happening? The foolish person lacks good sense, acts unwisely. And that is what the fast. And at the same time, the message is the Bhaj Govindam. And that message is very clear. Recall, remember. Let me remember that this I'm going into the delusion. Let me withdraw myself. Because when appointed time of the death has come, this attachment, this possession, and this joy of attachment will not work at all. That was the first verse. Second verse, he says that turn the scattered mind, the mind that is scattered outside, and the find happiness with it. Scattered mind naturally manifest in ego, I thought. That is the second verse that we have done. The third verse, so in the second verse, we say that let us take a support system. Like the child needs the support of a mother, students need the support of a teacher, patient needs the support of a doctor, we need support of the home, food. So delusion should not be supported. We should take the support of our self-awareness and we should check. Oh, delusion is there, let me drop it. Because the delusion strengthens my ego, it makes me a self limited person. That was the second verse we have taken up. Examine. Third one, examine when the mind attracted by any person, thing, situation, event, relationship. That very attraction it results into attachment. I gave an example last time of this young guy who said, My girlfriend says about you that you are crazy. So I should not be influenced whether one says I'm crazy, whether one should appreciate, maintain your self awareness. That is the third point. It's the third verse explanation. The fourth one, how can we build meaningful relationship that withstand the ups and downs of the life? Meaningful relationship. And if you just do the opposite, you will see we don't have a meaningful relationship with the possessions, with the wealth, with lot of stuff in the world outside. So if we don't have a meaningful relationship, we will get frustrated. whether it has to do with the money or possessions or a car or anything. Fifth, fifth verse. We have taken fifth verse. I'll make it very short so that you should be able to remember this. I'm just explaining a bit. The fifth verse is the verse teaches that the life is fleeting and we should not become too attached to the bodily existence. We should not be attached to the bodily existence. So what the master is saying that as long as the breath is there in the body, so long the people in the household ask about one's welfare. And once the breath goes away, body is lying down on the floor. Oh, just send it as fast as soon as possible to the cremation ground. In the same body we used to love. It's a very hard hitting on the mind in terms of the attachment. We should be very, very clear in our head that if someone loves this body, it has no value at all. So that is the fifth verse. And the sixth verse, no one is attached to what remains unchanging. No one remains. It's a very clear understanding. We should have a very clear understanding. In the childhood, we loved the toys. We left the toys. In adolescence, whatever we loved, we left it. At this age, we have left so many things. Why we have left so many things? Because everything is changing. We are not at all attached. We have to realize no one is attached to what remains unchanging, permanent happiness, but attached to what changes over time. We are not attached to permanent happiness that is within me. We are not attached to the peace. Look at the psychotherapy and the counseling. If I use the word, I should not use the word counseling, otherwise, psychology will sue me. You can say guidance and coaching. Look at the beauty of this understanding. And then, so this is what we have done. Now see in a different format all these 6 and 7 verses. The first is I should recognize the foolishness, the joy of attachment, pleasure of possession. There is no pleasure in possession, but I enjoy that. That is a part of the delusion. Think of it. Anything that I possess, anything. I possess a big mansion and I cannot walk into that mansion. What is going to happen? So it is the ego that says, oh, look at this. So I have to recognize that sense of foolishness. Can we check that foolishness and we start living consciously? That is the meaning of living consciously, living into the self-awareness, living into the mindfulness. The second is check if the mind is scattered. You do not actually know what you're doing. Because when mind is scattered in different directions, we do not know what exactly we are doing. We get carried away. Third, mind is scattered in different directions because of attachment, because of the joy, because of possessions. Let me attach to my real self, which is of the nature of the peace. Consciously, you start thinking, let me attach myself. Let me attach myself to the peace within. The way we think consciously, oh, I'm attached to these possessions. The fourth, our relationship are based on external factors. There's another way to explain it. Our relationship is based on external factors, situations, causes emotional, physical dependence. Causes? If any relationship is based on external factors, it will definitely cause the physical dependence, it will cause the mental dependence or emotional dependence. I need to understand it. I need to see it consciously. even for a single issue that say, for example, your wife offers a cup of tea every day, and she has been offering for many, many years, and one day she doesn't offer. What happens? I'm telling you a very simple thing in life. Simple thing. You are a teacher. Everyone says good morning to you for years together, and one day no one says you. Physical dependence, emotional dependence. You have to be aware of that. The moment we are aware of peace and happiness is within me, if one has not done the good morning, let me do the good morning. Where is the problem? So, after attachment and emotional dependence, we forget to see the reality. And when you forget to see the reality, there is a delusion. What foolishness, wandering mind. Pay attention, I'm just summarizing it. Foolishness, when foolishness, wandering mind, attachment means start thinking about the world. Depend on the external factors, and which results into an emotional dependence and intellectual paralysis. I'm not able to think in a right manner. My life, and now what we should do. In the seventh verse, the master says, I should question my false assumption in the wrong notion. No doubt, the world is beautiful, but still, in which the world I live in, I have to challenge the false assumption. The more you challenge your false assumption and the wrong notion, you are getting rid of the delusion. World outside is wonderful. Our psychology is deplorable. Small issues. Our mind gets attached, gets agitated, goes into anxiety. I'm repeating again. Our world, definitely, the world outside is beautiful, most wonderful, but our psychology is deplorable, so that the relationship between the world and our mind causes the delusion. Think of it. And then now just come to single word for the single verse. The first verse, foolishness. Second, scattered mind. Third verse talks about attachment. Fourth, emotional dependence. That is what we have already covered. Fifth, impermanence in the world. Sixth, intellectual paralysis. Seventh is the treatment comes. It is questioning our false assumption. But I'm just presenting in a different way. Even if you study these texts, you cannot get that idea that in the first seven verses, the master is talking about how we get deluded. What are those factors? The first factor is the foolishness, living. What it means? Living unconsciously, habitually, impulsively, without self awareness of our thought and actions. That is what the foolishness is. Mindlessly scrolling, mindlessly scrolling on our phones. There is a buzz in the phone, and no, no, let me check it. There is no need. It is not going to kill me if I don't check it. So there are many ways we have been applying our foolishness in our life. Second part, the scattered mind. The mind that is scattered in the world in different directions. What happens? Just think of the opposite, lack of focus and the clarity in what I'm doing. So when there is a lack of focus and the clarity what I'm going to do, just for the example, just I'm going to teach you. If I don't have the focus, what is going to happen? So it is, I have to check that whatever the actions that I'm performing, there is no lack of focus, and because I have decided to do it, jumping from the one thought to the next, no, not required in human life. Normally, what happens, we open the browser and we open the 10 tabs, browser tabs, and we start moving. Same thing that happens with TV channels. We have a remote in our control. Third point, attachment. Clinging to people, possessions, situations, any clinging. And how that clinging, how to recognize that clinging. I keep on thinking about an object, about an event, about a person, about a situation, about a condition. I keep on thinking, whether it's a negative or positive. That is what the attachment is. That is the way to recognize the attachment. So remember, first verse, foolishness. Second verse, scattered mind. Third is attachment. Fourth is emotional dependence, relying on external circumstances for my inner stability, for my inner steadiness, for my calmness. I rely on external factors. It may be a person, it may be a position. I'm not saying, I'm living within a relationship. Should I leave all the relationship? No, I have to leave the emotional dependence. Understand this. People normally misunderstand this. I have to leave what is going on in my mind. I have to drop this. Delusion has to be dropped inside my head. It has nothing to do with the external world. I told you, external world is beautiful, wonderful. Our psychology is deplorable. Remember this. And then the fifth one, the impermanence. Everything is changing in the world. What I liked a couple of years ago, I don't like it. Think of the 10 gadgets or 10 things you liked a couple of years ago and go and check into your garage. They are still lying there. They are lying there. I can tell you the same thing happens with the people. Same thing happens with the relationship. I make it a point that every year I say how many things I have, they are lying in the garage, and let it be. I should see that. Can it be used by someone else? Get rid of it. Let the garage be free. Why? Because it also helps you to unclutter your brain, your head. It happens. Same thing with the clothes in your closet. Intellectual paralysis is the sixth one. Intellectual paralysis is the getting stuck in limiting belief. That is what the intellectual paralysis is. I don't want to repeat it, but I can repeat it here in this session. I'm stuck to Buddha, I'm stuck to Jesus, I'm stuck to Krishna. No, that is also an intellectual paralysis. Stuck with anything. So I limit my belief, then I'm not open minded, I'm not ready to learn, and it will take long time. No intellectual belief, or this car is good, or that car is good. Check it whether the car is good to have it. So you have understood these six verses, and now Master says, question all of them. Question your assumption. Don't get upset with anything. Just start questioning your false assumption, foolishness. Challenge your ingrained notions about how we see the world and live. I can tell you, even if you start thinking, 50% of your challenges drops away. And the rest 50%, gradually, then the master talks about when you challenge your false assumption, the next verse, which is I have repeated many a times. It comes from this text that I'm going to talk in detail in the following session, but I'm reminding you, Satasangatve Nisasangatvam. Now, do you see the way Master has written? Master first has made us aware of the different areas of the delusion in our personal life, in our professional life, in our physical life, in our emotional life. And now in the verse, he says, I have to question my assumption. I have a joy of attachment. Why? How? Can that joy lives in the attachment? Does that joy lives in the object or a person? That is why I told this guy, who told me, my girlfriend friend says I'm crazy. So I have a fear, false assumption. So I'm already attached to the present girlfriend. And if the girlfriend talks about nasty things about me, then I have a sense of attachment, which causes the fear, which is the result of the emotional attachment. Now my intellect is closed, and that is why he called me. Do you see? Intellectual paralysis. My intellect is not able to think clearly. So that is how the master is so. Master is a genius. The way he talks about it, casually you start contemplating and reflecting over these 6 challenges that we have: intellectual paralysis, impermanent nature of the world. I'm going from the last to the 6th or 6th to the first one. Intellectual paralysis, constant change of the nature of the word, impermanence, emotional dependence, attachment, scattered mind, and the foolishness. So once I have accumulated, now I know this is my emotional dependence, this is my intellectual paralysis, this is my attachment, this is my foolishness. So now I question those false assumptions. You'll be surprised that these 6 factors will dissolve like the mirage water, provided you follow the principles of Eastern wisdom. It will dissolve, and you are free. Now, just go a little deeper. You remember all the 6 factors. I said you intellectual paralysis, impermanence, nature of the word, emotional dependence, attachment, scattered mind, and foolishness. Now, can you imagine the symptoms in my life? Anxiety, duality, conflict. Many people say I'm very sensitive. Touch me not. It is because of these 6 factors. Normally, they get up, say, no, don't touch me not. I don't want to tell many things happens, this one. Last year, she told me everything about her personal life. She said, guide me. So now I had the second session. I didn't charge any money from her. She's very close to me, as people claim. So when I started talking about her personal life, which she already told me, the emotional dependence and the foolishness came into her mind. She said, why you are talking to me about my uh, privacy? I said, you told me everything to help you, and that is why I'm talking. Foolishness can come anytime. Intellectual paralysis can come anytime. Even to the genius. So I have to question these false assumptions. I have to challenge my ingrained notions about how I see the world, how I live. I have to examine why we chase certain goals in my life. Any goal. I have to buy a car. So, buying a car, is it dictated by a society, by my neighbor, or did you get it? Anything in the world. It doesn't go so easily. The delusion cannot be dissolved so easily. We learn to live in the delusion since our childhood. That is why the master says you have to, we have to consistent listening and learning. So these teachings helps me to open up the factors that is buried deep inside my head, causing the delusion. I have to question the false assumption, or how to recognize the false assumption. I'm into anxiety, I'm into duality, I'm into a conflict. I have certain reaction against a person or a situation. This is the false assumption. That's why I feel bad. That's why I'm frustrated. Our frustration, our anxiety, our duality, and a conflict comes due to the delusion. So when you remember Bhaja Govindam, you are ready to challenge those false assumptions. And I'm leaving you with the next session that I have repeated many a times. I think I have repeated hundred of times. Satasangatve nisasangatvam. So the first line of the verse, it says consistent listening and learning, understanding the delusion, contemplating and reflecting, followed by the practice, results into detachment. Attachment is one of the problems. Satasangatve nisasangatvam. Nisasangatve nirmohatvam. So once the detach, I recognize that here is an attachment intellectually, mentally, and I drop it. I enter into a state of dispassion. Dispassion results into inner calmness. Anxiety is gone. Duality is gone. Sensitivity is gone. So the first is consistent listening and learning. I can tell you this, these 6 factors of the delusion will not go by any kind of practice. You do practice for kundalini meditation for years together. It cannot go without understanding. Practice helps you to settle into the state of dispassion. Because if I don't recognize, so you see I will take up in detail. So what is that? Satasangatve. Listening and learning results into detachment. Detachment results into dispassion. Nirmohatve, nirmohatvam, nischaltatve. So what happens when you are in the state of dispassion? Your mind does not need to be focused. It is already focused. You have a steady mind. Why? You have a steady mind. You have a scattered mind only because of delusion. Or because of the delusion, your mind is always wandering. It is trying, oh no, I'll find the happiness here, there also, and there also. So what happens? Because of the dispassion, you have a steadiness in the mind. And once you, that is the internal steadiness. It is a natural steadiness of the mind. Means you live into a higher level of awareness. When you live into the higher level of awareness, that is, it makes you a seeker, and the seeker succeeds in awakening to real self. That I will take up in detail in our following session. Close your eyes. Let us start our journey. Eyes are closed. Being comfortable and being carefree. Being comfortable. You can check the movement of the mind due to the delusion and the foolishness or the attachment or the paralysis. What is intellectual paralysis during the practice? Your mind is not listening to me. Your mind is listening to your specific thought, which is running your mind. Otherwise, there is no reason why you should not be comfortable and carefree. Look at my friends, how simple it is. A keen, clear understanding results into, but it has to be applied again and again and again until we recognize now I'm living into a higher level of awareness. And then we never forget Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. I was attached to a lot of things. Now I'm attached to only the masses in the mantra, the knowledge in the mantra. You see, your mind will start reciting these mantras very softly. You will have a love with these mantras. May there be happiness for all. Why? Your mind recognizes happiness is within me. It is my essential nature. And so it is the essential nature of everyone. I need not to be sympathetic to anyone. Empathy is okay. Being concerned is okay. You see that? Your mind awakens to this to discernment naturally. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. You are attached with this mantra so much so you cannot live without it. As you start singing in a bathroom, so you start singing these mantras. Why? To check it again. Oh, this is what it is. Peace is, may there be peace for all. Peace is our essential nature. Peace. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. May there be completeness for all. Completeness, you know, your mind is not running outside for the sake of the joy, for the sake of entertainment or enjoyment, for the sake of the pleasure. Why? Because you recognize that sense of completeness in me. I've already discussed in detail, so I'm just reminding you in a different way. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. May there be auspiciousness. For auspiciousness means that let the existence, now the same existence, same world of different situation, people and relationships become the factor of my calmness. They were causing, because of their relationship, it was the delusion. But now I'm happy. Now I see the world is really wonderful because my psychology is not deplorable. We need only an understanding, my friends. We need only a clarity. Now, once we have a clarity, then we go for the purification of the mind. Then only it will work. And we already know it that what we have been doing, looking deep inside your forehead, in the and start saying Om Shanti. One thing, keep the body steady and start breathing quick, short, in the gentle breath. Quick, short breath into the rib cage. Pay attention that your rib cage expands and contracts during inhalation and exhalation, respectively, and you are continue doing it. Rib cage breathing. Continue. You have to continue breathing, stillness in the body, and Om Shanti continues until we reach maybe for 5 or 6 minutes each, and there is no resistance offered by the mind, then we can say you can take over the deluded mind anytime, anywhere. Continue breathing gently. Also, check if the flow of both the nostrils are equal. It would be a wonderful experience for you. You will, you will see if the breath flows equally even during the breathing. This rib cage breathing or the chest breathing, you will see that your mind has no resistance at all. You relate it to it. Continue breathing. Stillness in the body continues. Om Shanti continues. And stop this. Do nothing. Your body is already still. You're looking at the flow of the breath. Even during the day, check the flow of the breath. If they are equal, you will discover, oh, it is a state of the calmness I'm able to maintain. And I have seen, even if you have seasonal affective disorder, which I had many, many years ago, cold, cough, lot of it, but I still find the flow of the breath is equal. And I check it every day. It is so natural to me. So you just keep on paying attention to the flow of the breath, and that is enough. to start dissolving the delusion. And now looking again inside the forehead, Om Shanti, and start belly breathing. It's a longer breath. Even if the last nostrils are blocked, you should do it to open it up. So a regular practice will ultimately increases your immunity. It will take care of the cold and the cough also. Please pay attention every time you inhale, your belly expands and your belly contracts during the exhalation. Continue long breathing into the belly, awareness of the flow of the nostrils. Om Shanti continues. Expansion and contraction of the belly should be there, that you are aware, and the body is steady. We are expanding the mind. The mind has to be scattered on these factors. First point of awareness of scattering is the body is steady. Second point is dropping Om Shanti. Third is doing the belly breathing. Fourth is the expansion and contraction of the belly. So you see, this is known as the focus. Mind will resist doing the breathing, and you endure it and keep on doing it. Do not listen to your mind. Why you're listening to me. Breathing into the belly, aware of the flow of the nostril, Om Shanti, stillness in the body, expansion, contraction of the belly during inhalation and exhalation. It will go a long way because you have understood it. And while doing the practice, you will recognize, oh, this thought has come, it has a delusion, it is gone. And now stir up this, be aware of the flow of the nostril. That is the only thing. But at the same time, you're aware of the flow of the nostril, and whichever flow is, the less you pay attention there. At the same time, you're aware of the stillness in the body, you're aware of the breath, and also the space within. You already experienced the sense of calmness and the peace also. But we want to discover the real self. And now paying attention deep inside the forehead, Om Shanti, and start breathing both from the belly and the chest. Long, deep, hissing breath. You inhale into the belly first, then into the rib cage. The third breathing is very important. I know we are paying less attention to it. We will go to that breathing in the future sessions. Long, deep in the hissing breath, Om Shanti continues, and the stillness in the body continues. And stop this breathing, awareness on the flow of the nostril. You enjoy, I know that you might be enjoying looking at the flow of the breath. So here we are not talking of the awareness of the breath, but in fact, that is also one way to be aware of the breath, but we are exploring our state of the mind by knowing the flow of the breath. The flow of the breath is equal. Make sure, you should be 100% sure. Maybe a surface thinking may be there, but that is not disturbing you. An inner sense of inner calmness prevails in that state. Now, Om Shanti on the 16 segments of your fingers, but it's a mind's eye. I think I made you understand clearly. It's a mind's eye, it's a mind's ear, it's a mind's tongue, it's mind's touch. We're not physically touching any segment of a finger. So, the moment you say Om Shanti, all the sense organs are activated in your mind, not physically, but mentally. Why we are doing it? Get rid of that emotional dependence. Emotional dependence always comes with a perception by the sense organs supported by the mind in delusion. Shanti, Shanti. You may find a kind of self absorption here also. But here we continue with Om Shanti and we see the kind of self absorption. What a beautiful state you all are in. I could see a total sense of stillness. And now leave this also triangle deep inside the cave of your heart. Visualize the triangle of any shape, no, any color. Shape should be equilateral. All the three sides are equal. Moving the mind on the side of a triangle, dropping Om Shanti, clockwise, anti-clockwise. You see the mind movement of the mind and dropping of the Om Shanti is very smooth, sinking. And if it is sinking, then singing mentally, pushing the mind deep inside the cave of your heart. Mind seemingly stops. You drop Shanti, absorption is there. Almost you are in a state of doing nothing. And if mind disturbs you, you return again on the triangle, doing Om Shanti, and again going back to self absorption. Shanti. Just a reminder, even I said just a reminder, I know you all remember if your mind had distracted. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your awareness on the right hand, your awareness on the left hand. Lift your both your palms, place it on your eyes. Open the eyes inside the palms. Know your experiences. Bring the hands down. We'll share our experiences because that helps me to design the next session. And if you have any question, how are you, David?
Thank you, sir. I found the message today and the practice to be one word, just very simple and clean. 2 words, I guess. And so going into the meditation, I noted the breathing. I just noticed going every breath, just going deeper and deeper and deeper. And then I heard at some point you say what I did for the balance of the meditation, and my arms were so heavy I could barely lift them up. So very deep.
Beautiful. That's really beautiful and deeper experience. That is how we are going to transform ourselves. How are you, Jerry?
Thank you, sir. I'm good. The mind was focused on your word throughout. So that was the one pointed focus for the mind, and it stayed with every word. It was absorbed with that. And I think the takeaway from my mind, or the mind, was that the mind knows that it exists to serve consciousness. And so does the body exist to serve consciousness. And at any point in time, if the mind thinks that it exists to serve itself, then it will suffer.
Yes, you define the delusion. When the mind serves itself, it is delusion. And when the mind, body, and all they are instruments of the consciousness, that is what the Eastern wisdom talks about. It's a beautiful way to present it. Thank you, Jerry. That's really good. How are you, Christina? You're in a driving seat, huh?
Yes, not driving though. Thank you.
Thank you.
Um, Today, something occurred to me. The 6 factors that create delusion are almost like I could look at it as my to-do list instead of my regular to-do list of everything I need to do. And I noticed a settling of myself into that awareness.
Yeah, understanding those 6 factors and understanding that it, they are the false assumption in our life created by the mind to serve itself. That is the cause of the. Once you have an understanding, you settle yourself. No anxiety, no duality, no conflict. Beautiful way to explain it. That's really good. How are you, Stephen?
Good, thank you, sir. Awareness was the key takeaway for me in conjunction with the application of the principles. Using David's term, keeping everything simple, allowed me to enter into meditation today in such a deep space to where the breath flow was even from start to finish, and I was completely absorbed throughout with absolutely no thoughts whatsoever.
Beautiful. Obviously, everyone in this session is going deeper. That's wonderful to know. How are you, Dennis?
Thank you. Deep, very deep meditation. At the end, I was observing the dark space, recognizing just a few thoughts here and there, popping up and dissolving.
Yeah, and they are not disturbing you.
No,
That's also a kind of self absorption. Beautiful. Everyone is experiencing so deeper. I'm so happy. Yes. How are you, Terry?
My my word is lightness.
Lightness in the body and the mind.
My struggle, the amount of resistance was less,
Less.
lighter,
Light.
and
You have to contemplate and reflect what Jerry was saying. That's beautiful. I'm repeating. Mind, when the mind serves its own goal or own desire, that is what the attachment is. That is what the emotional dependence is. That is what the delusion. Because, once you have a clear understanding, something pops up. And the same with the Stephen, Dennis, and Christina, that now I'm settled. So when I'm settled means what? I have dropped my false assumption. So even you drop the false assumption pertaining to your body. That is where I wanted to come.
oh,
Yeah. So once you drop the false assumption about your body, you are free. You feel lighter. How do you show? Ashok is sitting in a different position. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I'm peace and calm.
Peace
Nothing to
and-
mention. All is good. Thank you.
So how is your laptop? Oh yeah, this is you are facing us now.
Actually,
Previous,
camera of the laptop is not working, so I have put additional camera. That's
Oh,
good.
additional. Oh. But addition, I have the additional camera also. You faced
Okay.
it.
Okay, I will place it accordingly.
Yes, now you have done it.
Thank you.
Good. That is good. Thank you very much. We will meet again.
Namaste.
Namaste,
Thank
sir.
you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you.
Namaste,
Namaste.
everyone.
Namaste.